Ken Unsworth is hardly a household name, yet you'd know the sculptor's work if you saw it. Always controversial, Ken Unsworth's known for big public installation art, such as the so-called poo sticks, which are displayed prominently in Sydney's King's Cross. But for nearly 10 years, the artist had been focused on caring for his dying wife and had barely produced anything, until now. Rebecca Bailey reports.
A virtual recluse for nearly a decade, Ken Unsworth is back in the public eye. One of Australia's leading contemporary artists, he's on a journey to both honour his late wife and rebuild his artistic career.
And my wife was ill for a long time, and I knew that she was going to die. She knew she was going to die. And we often discussed what would happen when that moment came. We knew instinctively that one thing that would be important would be to have an exhibition that somehow or other connected both of our interests in music and art.
In one of the most ambitious and expensive art installations ever staged in Sydney, Ken Unsworth is transforming the largest island in the harbour, Cockatoo, into a massive party venue and art space.
Oh, the immensity of it is huge. And I was determined that it would be absolutely the best I could possibly do. For something really special.
Ken has been a carer for several years now, and he hasn't been out there. He hasn't been able to do major projects, but this in fact is proving to be a relaunch of Ken's life, you know. Wow, yeah, look at that.
Tony Bond from the Art Gallery of New South Wales is a close friend of Ken Unsworth. He nominated Cockatoo Island as the perfect venue for the artist's first big project in more than 10 years.
Once we walked into the turbine hall, it all flashed in my mind. I could see the whole thing, the whole kit and caboodle, as they say.
People either love or hate Ken Unsworth's art. The sculptor is known to suspend himself in his own installations, but it's this work, Suspended River Stones, for which he is most famous.
Do you know the only way we're going to get these angels to work? We're going to use wire and twist it in a wave formation from hand to hand. The skeleton slowly begins to rise, and this strange sort of whirligig music starts at the same time.
Art is probably often at its best when it's so ambitious, so over the top, that you walk into a space and burst out laughing, really. Just, oh my God, you know, this is too much. And Ken is absolutely one of these dead serious clowns.
For more than 50 years, French-born Elizabeth Wolodarski was Ken Unsworth's muse.
She helped me develop that critical faculty of being able to look at what you're doing and analyse it and see whether you're on the right track.
Theirs is a love story which began in the 1950s in country Victoria.
I was asked once when I was born, and I said when I met Elizabeth, and that's true.
But Elizabeth Wolodarski's life was tinged with tragedy. A child prodigy, she never realised her potential of becoming a concert pianist. When her first husband died, she was left alone with a young son, who grew up to become a neurosurgeon, only to die at 36 from a brain tumour.
That really knocked her about, and she bore that grief all her life. But she, that didn't stop her from enriching mine.
What shall I offer in return, except that nameless beyond words thing?
Just as Elizabeth Unsworth had nursed her dying son, for 8 years Ken Unsworth cared for her until her death last year.
But while she was alive, it's strange how you have a strength. You don't fall apart. I'm just so glad that I was able to look after her and that she died at home.
Late last month, Ken Unsworth hosted an extravagant private party for more than 160 friends in a purpose-built ballroom on Cockatoo Island. The guests had a sneak preview of the exhibition, A Ringing Glass, which explores the journey taken from childhood to death and is now open to the public. Do you think that the evening will provide a certain closure for you?
Oh no, I don't believe in all that crap. Closure, what's closure? You carry things to the end of your day and you live with it.
While Ken Unsworth may never overcome his wife's death, losing her has meant he's gained a new lease on artistic life.
Rebecca Bailey with that report.